Hello friends, welcome you all. So today we're going to learn about what is a binary language, what is zeros and ones for the computer, why computer only understands zero and ones, why not other numerals like 1, 2, 3, 4, and why not other language computer understand. And most importantly, we're going to learn about how every user action get converted into zeros and ones. For example, the user is pressing the keys from the keyboard and those keys values are also converted into zeros and ones. You can also imagine the left and right click of the mouse is also going to convert into zeros and ones. Means almost every action what user is going to do is get converted into zeros and ones. Every input, every action, every activity of the user is nothing but the zeros and ones in the language of computer. So let's understand what is zeros and ones, because computer language only consists zeros and ones. So it is very important for us to understand zeros and ones and how they become generated, how every action get converted into zeros and one. So let's get started to understand it thoroughly. So as we all know, computer is a machine which takes input and process it to provide a desired output to the end user. And we also have seen the computer working diagram in three stages, which is input, process and output. So input stage is very important for us friend, because user actions are present at only on the input stage, and input stage is a stage which is a receiver of input action and converting that action into the computer understandable format. As we discussed, it is a language which is zero and ones, and here is the magic present at the input stage. So let's get understood at the input stage what exactly the process of converting a user action into zeros and ones, and why only zeros and ones, why computer only understand or produce zeros and ones from the user actions. So let's understand the input stage here thoroughly. So input stage functionality or working, we can define it in two categories. First is receiving the user action and second is processing the user action. Receiving user action means whatever the actions or activities performed by the user on input devices are get received at the input stage, and then they are get converted into the computer understandable format. That is our second category. So first category is almostly incomplete without the input devices. So firstly we require the input devices. So we can have input devices such as keyboard, mouse, scanner, light pen, barcode reader, microphone, touch screen, joystick, etc. to input or to receive the user activity as a first part of the working functionality of input stage. Now, very important part comes into picture, that is how to convert that user action into computer understandable format. Which factor is responsible, or which device or which part of the computer system is responsible to convert that user action or any input into zeros and ones, means in a computer language. So far the picture of input stage is clear to us. The working functionality of the input stage is get categorized, or we divided it into two part. One is receiving the user action, which is done through the input devices, and one is processing that user action into computer understandable format, and which can be done with the help of a very fundamental block of the computer. What is a fundamental block of the computer, and why that every action get converted into zeros and ones, and how it is get converted? This all question we will going to see in detail in the second category of the input stage. So let's get over to that category. On the input stage, we are receiving the multiple types of input from the user actions and then processing it into for the conversion of zeros and ones. So computer is an electronic machine. So machine word comes here. Machine operate in two state only, which is on state and off state. You can understand this in way like a bulb. So there is an electric bulb, consider, and you are giving electric supply to that bulb. So when you switch on the bulb, it throws out or illuminates the light, and when you turn off the electricity, it will go into a off state, which is not illuminating the light. In that state it will remain until and unless you turn on the switch again. Means supply is provided via switch to the bulb illuminate, and when the supply is get cut off or off from the switch, then the bulb get off. So similar kind of switches are present in computer machine as well. So there are numerous kind of switches present in the computer machine as well, and those switches are get turned on when they want to get a electric charge or electric supply to do some activity. And what are those switches? Those switches are nothing but the transistors. Yes, you hear it right. Transistor. Transistor are nothing but the one kind of switch. They turn on when they get an electric charge or electric signal and remains in off state until and unless they are actuated by the charge or electric signal. So what is the use of a transistor then, and why they are called as a fundamental block of the system? Because these transistors are present in very fundamental block of the computer, and they are used for storing the data or processing the data. So we can say a transistor as a fundamental building block of the computer means a computer is made of a transistor, and this is correct. So one might ask a question: if a computer is made of a transistor, then how many transistor does a computer have? You can say there are number of transistor, and you can understand this number of transistor concept in a integration type. You might heard a word of small scale integration, also a large scale integration, also a very large scale integration, which is famous on the name of or short form of VLSI, and ultra large scale integration. So all these integration type are basically depends on number of transistors used in the computer system. So let us understand this on and off switching type of the computer, what functionality they are providing in a computer. So every action done by user on input devices get converted into transistor on off condition. So far we understand, friend, that input stage is having two category of function. First is receiving the input action via input devices and processing that input action. So we received the input action via input devices. This is one stage and completed. After receiving the input actions via input devices, these transistors switching between on and off state by getting the electric signals to record that input action and providing a multiple input to the computer system in a computer language. But how this on and off state, that transistor on off condition, will provide an input to the computer system? Let's understand. For example, consider there are 8 transistor, friends, and alternately or as per the electric signals get provided to them, they are in on and off state. Now assume this on state is nothing but the higher level of electric signal, which is considered as 1. Let us assume this, that computer program will understand only 2 levels of electric charge. One is higher level of electric charge and second is low level of electric charge, that is almostly none. So higher level of electric charge get understood by the computer and termed it as 1, and lower level of electric charge, which is almostly no charge for the transistor to get on, is termed as 0. So in this way, friend, computer will turn on off state of transistor into 1 and 0 coding language, and every state of transistor get converted into 1 and 0. And now you get clear on your point that how 1 and 0 are get evolved as a computer language. This is the basic working scenario for it. Every input, every action get converted into transistor on off state, and that on off state are understood by the computer as a higher voltage and lower voltage, and that higher voltage or lower voltage is considered as 1 and 0. And here 1 and 0 comes into the picture, and that is the reason computer will understand only 1 and 0. So this picture clear out our almost 100% whatever the questions we have in mind. Let us understand every action done by user on input device is converted into transistor on off condition. Hence every action get converted into 0 and 1 data. That data we oftenly called as binary data, which is also known as bits in very simple format. And that binary data is understandable by the computer. So let us understand this by taking one example. Suppose there is a user who is typing CAT, that is a cat. But I hope we all aware about ASCII, American Standard Code for Information Interchange. And that code is defined for all the characters on the keyboard. So as per the code defined, C is having 43 value, A is having 41, T is having a 54 value. Now these values are get converted into alternate electric signals for the transistor on and off state, and again that on and off state for C, A and T get recorded as 0 and 1 pattern. And you can see on the screen which is having a transistor pattern on and off get recorded in a binary bit also, which is 00101011. And similarly we have computer get recorded with CAT, all these alphanumeric characters into binary bits. So hence we have a computer input, that is a keyboard input, get converted into binary format. I'm again just revising it that ASCII is intermediary value, which is a alphanumeric value. So value for or code for the alphanumeric numbers, and that numbers which is having a code values get converted into transistor on off state, and that on off state get converted into a binary bit respectively. So here decoding of 0 1 input to the computer, we have seen friends that transistor on off state get converted into 0101 format, which is a binary bit. So for today's session, we have learned that binary data or bits are nothing but the transistor on off condition, which is due to the electric charge supply provided as per the data recording purpose. So these binary bit or data get recorded or get understood by the computer, and computer store this as computer understand this format. Computer store this in a memory and process it with the instruction to generate a respective action or to generate a respective output. So this is the how computer will understand 0 and 1, friends, and this is how the binary language of computer only contains 0 and 1, and this is how the computer will process only 0 and 1 data, and that is the reason understanding of 0 and 1 binary data or bits for the computer language is very important. So this is for the today's session. Stay tuned, we will meet soon.